Now, it's expected that these Biden gun proposals, which will likely call for expanded background checks on gun buyers and revive a ban on military-style assault weapons, will no doubt spark a big political fight in Congress. Now, some are charging that this debate is fueling concerns the White House is trying to erode Second Amendment rights. Joining us now, Erich Pratt, who's with the group Gun Owners of America. Welcome. Great to have you here.
Thank you, Uma, for having me. It's good to be here.
First off, let me ask you, this week the Vice President suggested that executive orders, executive action actually, could be taken to implement strict gun control laws. This would circumvent Congress, of course. What impact could this have on the gun debate?
Well, this would have a tremendous impact. I think people are very concerned, very spooked about what's happening, because here, millions of people have made the choice to purchase firearms because they know that guns save lives, and yet the rhetoric coming out of Washington, D.C. with executive orders, or Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York, saying that confiscation is an option, an Iowa lawmaker saying that we need to take guns from people. All this really has people concerned that the right that they've been able to enjoy, they may not be able to purchase a firearm for self-defense, or they may be limited in that choice. And so as a result, guns have been flying off the shelves at gun stores. I know our membership at Gun Owners of America has been skyrocketing. And it's because people want, with any insurance policy, they want to be able to get that insurance before there's a need or a crisis.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, we are hearing that universal background checks, along with a renewed ban on military-style assault weapons, will be among those recommendations that we will likely see on Tuesday. What's your reaction to this?
Well, we've tried the ban approach. We did that for 10 years. It didn't stop Columbine from occurring. And in fact, what's interesting is that in 2004, that ban expired. That was the Clinton gun ban expired. It's sunset. And those guns became legal again. And we're actually safer today. Almost 10 years later, the murder rate has plummeted in this country. We're safer today with all these guns being legal. And I think it underscores the point that banning guns does not make people safer. If it did, it would have worked in Washington, D.C. During the heyday of their gun ban. Basically, what we've done is, around every school zone, we've put up signs saying there are no guns here. I don't care who you are, as anti-gun as somebody might be, they will never put a sign in front of their home saying there are no guns here, because that would just be a magnet for the criminal element. And yet that's exactly what we've done in our schools, and it has been a magnet for the terrorists and the criminals who want to make a name for themselves.
Well, publicly the White House has dismissed calls by the NRAs, for example, to put armed guards at all schools. But now it seems some liberals, like Democratic Senator Barbara Boxer, saying, hold on, it's not such a bad idea. She's actually introduced a proposal to the president to have federal funds pay for armed security guards at schools. What do you say about this kind of about-face going on?
Well, I find it interesting that in the 15-block area or so on Capitol Hill, there's 1,800 Capitol Hill police to protect our congressmen. How many armed people have there been protecting our children over the last several years? My heart goes out to those parents in Connecticut. I myself have lost a child through a tragedy, and I know the pain that they're feeling. But, with 7 school-age children right now, if I had had a child in that school in Connecticut, I would have hoped and prayed to God that there would have been an armed teacher or a principal there to protect those children, in the same way that Joel Myrick of Pearl, Mississippi High School, who was an assistant principal there, used his firearm to stop a school shooting. That's what you have to do. When bad guys get their hands on guns, you need a good guy with a firearm to stop them.
Well, summing up really quickly, though, do you think it's possible to have a meaningful compromise between the White House and gun rights activists?
Well, I think the Second Amendment precludes a compromise when it says that the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. If there's anything that we do need to do, is to get rid of the school zone loophole, where people are able to carry in most places in a state except at schools, and those are the very places that criminals then target.
So when you're taking a look at all of this, what are you hoping for come Tuesday? Do you think you're going to actually see some recommendations that you can live with?
I don't think we're going to see meaningful recommendations coming from the White House. Their old adage, don't let a crisis go to waste, and this is what they're doing. They're using the tragedy that happened in Connecticut and trying to exploit it for their own political gain.
As we move forward with this debate, do you think we're going to be seeing further polarization then in Congress over this issue?
I do, and yet I think as a warning to legislators, they need to remember the lessons of the early 90s, President Clinton lamented many times that it was the gun control that he pushed in 1993 which cost him control of the Congress, because many pro-gun Democrat voters crossed over to vote Republican. And I think legislators are going to need to remember that lesson, and I think that will make many of them gun shy.
All right, Erich Pratt, thank you so much for joining us today with your insights. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.